Okay. I get a lot of questions about the show. How did the show start? How did I get into internet broadcasting? That sort of thing. So, what I thought I might take some time and do is just like a quick history of the show. Excuse me. I started doing internet broadcasting at the end of January of 2008. At that time, I was on Blog Talk Radio. Um, wasn't sure what direction I'd go into, and I figured, well, I'm kind of a news nut, and it was an election year. How about a news political show? And I called it News Talk. Originally, the show was on at 11:30 on Sunday nights over on Blog Talk Radio, and as time progressed, I moved on. I kind of backed into an earlier time slot. I moved the show to 10 o'clock. Had some great news talk shows talking about politics and stuff. At that time, I had some decided political views, which are way different than the ones I have now. And they even changed over the course of the shows. I was doing the shows. You were to go back to the archive and listen, you'd see that. Moved to 10 o'clock. Eventually drifted back to 9 o'clock on Sunday nights. Um, Over the course of the week, sometimes I would get bored and I'd do like a surprise news talk show. Well, one night I got the idea. I was like, I've always been a follower of independent music. I wonder if I could just do like a show about independent music. Just play music. That would be fun. Call it a music break. Great idea. Well, it turned out to be a much better idea than I ever could have hoped for. Over the course of one of my music break shows, a lady came into my room. Her screen name was Unsigned Musicians. Her name was Deb. Said, "Hey, you're playing a lot of really great independent music." I didn't know then what an awesome compliment that was until I got to know Deb. At that time, her Blog Talk Radio show was at Saturday nights at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. And at that point in time, my wife was also doing a show over on Blog Talk Radio. I was kind of being supportive of her. It was on at the same time. Um, well, a couple weeks after meeting Deb, and she started coming to my regular Sunday night show and kind of ranting in the chat room while I was ranting on the air. Um, a couple weeks later, my wife and her co-host decided to hang up their headsets, and they retired their show. She was doing a show called Tick Tick Boom. Those archives are also still available on Blog Talk Radio. If you want the link, just ask. Um, her name was Deb, still is. Yeah, ha ha. So, anyway, I was like, oh, cool. Well, let me go check out this lady's show, because I checked out some of the archives. The music was just fabulous. And we started hanging out in the chat rooms, talking about the weather, talking about the music industry, stuff like that. Deb was kind enough to send me some links of some of the BS that's going on in the music industry. And hanging out in my chat rooms while I was ranting and raving on News Talk. Um, and it was like a Saturday night in like December. I was already contemplating. I was like, wow, the election's over. What am I going to do next year? How is my show going to evolve? What am I going to do? I was hanging out Saturday night, and I will be honest, I was about 3 sheets to the wind. Somebody had brought me, I'd helped somebody at work, and in return they brought me like a 6-pack of India Pale Ale, Smutty Nose India Pale Ale. Pretty potent stuff. I was listening to Deb's show, and yeah, this is way before the pink guitars and everything else, guys. This is still on Blog Talk Radio. And Deb was doing her show, and I was half in the bag, and Pete Berwick called in. And Deb's like, I have a really great idea. Risky, can you call in? Just something I want to do. And her idea was she wanted to do, at that time, what we called a series of shows on the music industry. And I was like, great idea. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my show anyway. So, we originally we batted a bunch of ideas back and forth, and we decided to just do it on my Sunday night time slot on my channel. And News Talk became News Talk Special Report. And Deb came on as a co-host, and we had some really great musician interviews. Our first interview was J.C. Martin from Black Angel. Following week we had Pete Berwick. I think a couple weeks later we had John Buckman from Magnatune. We had Chris Blake on. We had Troy Castellano on. We had J.D. Stiegel, the late J.D. Stiegel, on. And I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. And over time, News Talk Special Report, I changed the name to Indie Music Spotlight. Deb was still co-hosting the show with me over there. And we were having some major technical problems with Blog Talk Radio. Just about every week, something would happen. And the kicker was, one week they had this pop-up ad that was actually a pop-under ad that was actually a virus that tries to hijack your system. Well, my virus protection programs caught it, but it made me really start to wonder about Blog Talk Radio. Yes, I knew I was missing somebody. We had our good friend Rob Mazurek on the show. And it's funny, that was a fun night. I knew I forgot somebody. And it wasn't like, damn it. But yeah, we had a great interview with Rob, and that's actually when the technical glitches kind of started, because that's when it quit archiving the show after 2 hours. Once your live stream was over, that was it. And the last half of that show was the funniest part. And I was so pissed when it didn't get archived. But yeah, that was the night that Deb talked about Mr. Drive-By. Yeah, that's it. Rob broke it, which is a clip I played on here as well. So I also had some major lobbying by Deb, who was doing her Wednesday show over here on Blog TV at that time. A couple of the musicians, Jody Parker, Jamie Gray, My Death 420, lobbying me to bring my show over here to Blog TV. I said, you know what, Blog Talk Radio ain't working out, I'll give it a shot. And we debuted our show over here on Blog TV on May 17th, 2009. And we've been here ever since. Deb doesn't join me on the show near as much as she used to, although of course she's invited any time she wants. But the show itself has kind of evolved from a 3/4 chatterbox, 1/4 music format to some nights it's almost all music, and then some nights it's me ranting. It just depends. But I get a lot of questions, people asking me about the show, so I figured I'd just record a video and say, yeah, this is how it came about. A show that started as a 11:30 Sunday night bitch fest has evolved into a music show. We've gotten to meet a lot of really great musicians. We've done 2 24-hour music events, 3 12-hour music events. We've supported some really great causes. We've done a lot of really cool stuff. Guys, the people in the guest chat who are logged in as guests cannot chat. I got guest chat turned off. Ashley could have said something, though. But Mama can't talk because Mama's locked out. So don't kick the guests because they can't help it. I would encourage them to make an account. But anyway, I get a lot of questions. People asking me about the show, how I got started on broadcasting. So there it all is. There's a brief history of Indie Spotlight Live for your viewing enjoyment. Any of you who have any questions about how to broadcast on Blog TV, because I've been trying to help some folks out, feel free to let me know. I'll help you as much as I can. I'm not an expert, but I can at least point you in the right direction. If I don't know, some people... here, I'll unlock the guest chat, because I think I know who Mama is. As a matter of fact, Mama's cool. So I'll unlock the guest chat so Mama can chat, because the guest couldn't chat before. Ooh, I think I was right, too. Pretty sure I was. Who knows? But anyway, that's a brief history of the show. Like I said, if you have any questions, and I will say we did take a trip back over to Blog Talk Radio. I looked at doing some Saturday shows over there. I'm happy to report they fixed all the technical problems that we were having over there. It's just that it took too much time, especially on the weekends where I had to work, to do show planning for 2 shows and broadcasting 2 shows on a weekend. So one of them had to go, and it was the resurrected Blog Talk Radio show. We went back to Saturday nights over there for like 4 or 5 weeks before we hung it back up. And I might even pick it back up later. I haven't completely nixed that idea, but because I like Blog Talk Radio because of the call-in line and the ability to archive. But the sound quality and the audience over here eclipses anything we ever had on Blog Talk Radio. So the move to Blog TV indeed was a very, very good one. So I think that's it. I think that's enough. I think it's enough history for one night. So if you are watching this on YouTube, when I kind of looked away and started talking to invisible people, it was the chat room here on Blog TV. I'd love to encourage you to come on by here. We're on every Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. My screen name is Risky Business 04, and we'd love to have you. And have a great week.